My name is Deborah. Welcome to my home studio in beautiful Twin Peaks, California. This is a video put together for Refresh on the Mountain Yoga Studio and anyone else who is interested. Today's sequence is addressing the immune system, which is so very important during this particular period of time. It was given to us by BKS Iyengar. A very brief history to provide some context. Iyengar was born in 1918 during the Spanish flu epidemic. His mother was ill with the Spanish flu, and as a result, Iyengar himself was very sickly as a child, and that's part of what propelled him into his study of the science of yoga. Fast forward to 2009, during the H1N1 pandemic, the so-called swine flu, and it hit Iyengar's hometown in India very hard, and so they had to close the yoga studios, just like we've closed them now. And he sent his students home with this particular sequence to practice. And I'll show you a picture of it right now. A quick internet search of immune sequence Iyengar yoga will bring this up. You can download it either as a PDF or as a picture so that you can have it. And what makes this sequence so good for the immune system as well as the respiratory system and the circulatory system and the nervous system is that they are a series of inverted supported poses. So this is particularly good for the lymphatic system, which is an open system. You know, the circulatory system is a closed system that relies on the heart to pump everything around. That's how it moves. But the lymph moves through the lymphatic system in two ways. One is through movement, through the muscles, and the smooth muscles and the skeletal muscles in particular. And the other way is from the above the heart is gravity working for you, and that's what helps to circulate the lymph through those 600 lymph nodes and a couple of organs like the spleen. So of course by inverting, then you're letting gravity work for you in the other way, and of course any kind of movement is helping as well. But these are poses that are meant to be held for a long period of time. When you're first starting out, maybe 2-3 minutes is great. Maybe work your way up to holding them for 5 minutes or longer. They're very supported and very lovely. Now, a few words of caution. I've developed a second video, which is a modified immune sequence video that you can go to, where you are not putting your head below your heart. There are several people that might need this if you have glaucoma or detached retina or untreated high blood pressure, or you're pregnant, or you're menstruating. There's a lot of reasons why you might want to watch this particular sequence on this video, but maybe go to the other video for your actual practice, or do a hybrid combination of the two. Of course, before doing any kind of exercise program, check with your doctor and get your doctor's advice. All right, I want to quickly show you two resources. If you do a search online for this immune sequence, you'll see different videos. My favorite is, it's called A Sequence of Yoga Training to Strengthen the Immune System with Eyal Shifroni. And I'll put that up in just a moment. And then also there's another PDF that's really, really great that's put out by the Iyengar Yoga Institute of Berlin that shows this sequence with two variations for each of the poses, and it's in color and it's really beautiful. So I will put up a card right now to show you how to search for that. And then one last thing. I know for myself, I didn't know when I was starting out this practice, like how long exactly is a minute when I'm in a pose, or 2 minutes or 5 minutes. And a free app that I found very useful is called Insight Timer. I have it right here. I'll put up a card. And you can, in addition to beautiful music and meditations, it has a timer and you can choose the kind of bell or crystal bowl gong that you would like. And it's very gentle and it's a nice thing. You can set it up for however many intervals. I usually set it up for 1 minute and then I get into a pose and then I start my count from hearing the bells from there. So one final disclaimer also is I am a certified yoga instructor through Yoga Alliance. I am not a certified Iyengar yoga teacher. I am a longtime practitioner for the past 20 years or so of the Iyengar approach to the science of yoga, and I hope you enjoy this as much as I do. All right, let's get started. The first asana in this series is Uttanasana, forward fold, but it's a very supported forward fold. There'll be support for the head at the forehead and support for the arms or for the hands as well. I'm going to demonstrate 3 variations. Choose one, stay in it for 5 minutes at least, or start high and incrementally work your way down. There are a number of ways to do this. Do what, of course, what feels best for you. We have a chair with some textile on it. Here I have a blanket, a stack of books or a stack of blocks. Face your props and stand in Tadasana. Maintain those Tadasana legs and feet and bend at the hips. Lengthen through the crown of the head. When you approach your props, move your prop to meet your body. Do not adjust your body for the prop, but instead adjust the prop for your body. And when it feels just right, then the arms can go up overhead. The armpit chest is open and wide. The shoulders are rolling away from the head. Find that balance in the middle of the feet. Maybe lift the toes, lift up through the arches. The legs are active. The belly organs are slightly drawn in. The neck, the head, the tongue, the jaw, the eyes are all very, very soft. For demonstration purposes, I'll quickly move on to the next, but of course stay in each increment if you're doing it that way, for at least 2 minutes. Inhaling the head slightly up to come out. Push that prop away. Take your textile to soften the books or the blocks, and then lengthen through the crown of the head to come back down. Adjust the props to meet the head. Now for me, for my body, I'm here up on fingertips so that I have a little bit of a bend in the elbow, so the elbows can move back towards the wall behind me, and I can also have more space here to roll the shoulders back and away from the neck. Same instruction applies. The legs are active in Tadasana. The head and the neck are soft. You may find that after staying here for a while, then you're ready to move a little bit lower. And again, with each of these angles, it will feel a little bit different. It will have a little bit of a different effect. And staying for at least 2 minutes will help you to fully appreciate and discover those. So I'm going to come up to an Ardha Uttanasana just to take a little bit more height out, and then I'm going to lengthen through the crown of my head and come back down. Now when I'm in the full fold, my palms can go flat on the ground, and again I'm lengthening, rolling the shoulders away from the head and the neck, lengthening through the crown of the head and the neck to really release everything there. When you are ready to come out, inhale to halfway. And then bending at the hips, pressing firmly in the feet. Return to Uttanasana. The second asana in this sequence is Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. You'll do this in a very supported way. With your hands, they'll be in this position, a wide V, with the thumbs moving towards each other and the fingers moving away, and they'll be up against the wall. And this will provide a lot of support for the arms. You'll also support the head with either a block or a book and one of your sturdy textiles over it to provide additional cushion and comfort. And you'll be pretty high up on the forehead, and once you get into position, you're going to want to draw the flesh of the forehead down towards the chin in this direction, as opposed to having the flesh of the forehead sort of moving back and up towards the back of the head. So you'll be moving in this direction. So place it about where you think it will be. You can always move it. The hands are wide. I'm going to quickly adjust my mat because it's not completely square. Well, the wall is not completely square there. As good as we can get. All right, hands are like this. There's an inward rotation of the lower arm, an outward rotation of the upper arm. Tuck the toes under and come up into your downward facing dog. If the support for the head is not exactly where you want it, you can always adjust it. So you're doing all the normal work of downward facing dog, but in a very, very supported way. And once you start to settle in, check in with the shoulders, make sure that they're broad, collarbones moving away from each other, that outward rotation of the upper arms. Shoulder blades moving towards each other and down the back. Release the head and the neck. Release the jaw, the eyes, the tongue, the ears. The legs and feet are working as well. Draw up through the inner arches of the feet. Thigh bone moving towards the wall behind you. Lifting up through the sit bones. Drawing the belly organs in. Armpit chest is open. Stay here for at least 2 or 3 minutes, if not 5. For demonstration purposes, I will come down early. When you are ready, come to the knees, release the hands, toes together. We're moving into child's pose. Any variation of child's pose that you would like. Take several breaths here in child's pose. And then when you're ready to come out, take the hands under the shoulders, gently press to come all the way up. Bring the knees together and breathe. The third asana is Prasrita Padottanasana, standing wide leg forward fold. This again will be done in a supported manner, similar to Uttanasana, a chair and a textile on top of it, a block. And I'd also like to introduce using a strap for the feet. This is something that I recently learned about that I've really enjoyed and appreciated, having that positive feedback for the feet. So to use the strap, it goes in the middle of the foot towards the back of the heel, so it's right in that outer arch area. And you can adjust the strap or the set of belts that you have, or whatever it is that you have that you can use at home. You want to adjust yourself so that all 10 toes are pointing forward and that there's a nice tension here, that you can feel the positive feedback. And it helps for me, the feedback helps to give me information about the lift of the arch, the inner arch of the foot. And so once you've adjusted yourself there, then you can come to standing. Exhale, bending at the hip, lengthening through the crown of the head, coming to land on the soft chair, letting the arms come up overhead, armpit chest is open. Pressing strongly into the soles of the feet, lifting the kneecap. Doing all of the instruction that you know for this pose while keeping the head, the neck, the jaw, everything very, very soft and relaxed and supported. If you would like to go down further, of course, a stack of books, a stack of blocks, whatever it is that you like to use. I'm going to use a small block and I'll bring my textile down to give a little extra push. And then again, backing out of it a little bit, lengthening through the crown of the head, exhaling, coming down. Same instruction as usual. The elbows are moving towards each other. The shoulders are not rolling down, but the shoulders are rolling back up the back. Drawing the flesh of the top of the head, the crown of the head, the upper forehead, down towards the chin. And breathe. Hold this pose for 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes. For demonstration purposes, I'll come out early. To come out, inhale, lengthening through the crown of the head, coming to the fingertips. Even use the chair to help yourself coming back up. Pressing strongly into the feet, hands on the hips, and then heel toe the feet together. The fourth asana in this sequence is Shirsasana, headstand. If you already have a regular headstand practice, then please go right into that. If you do not have a regular headstand practice, I do not recommend learning headstand through a video. I highly recommend that you only learn headstand through being in the presence of a seasoned teacher who can give you immediate feedback and who can assist you in real time. What I will demonstrate today is a headstand preparation. I recommend that you watch first and then play it again and listen to it as you do it. You do not want to turn your head or crane your head to look at the video while you're in this headstand preparation. All right, so you have your mat up against the wall. And then you have a second thin, I have a thin mat, I like to use this doubled over. If you do not have a second mat, then just use one of your sturdy textiles. We're going to be measuring the arm distance in this way, and then we're going to be interlacing our hands this way. We're going to take that bottom little pinky and tuck it under so that when we're pressing down, we're not smashing our pinky finger. All right, so we're going to face the wall. Come down and measure your arms. Then interlace the fingers, tuck that bottom pinky under, and just spend a moment here to feel what it feels like to firmly press the forearms and the outer edge of the hands onto the floor. The knuckles are just up against the wall. From here, back up the hips a little bit. We'll start off with our shoulders over our elbows, tuck the toes under, inhale and come up. My head is many inches away from the ground at this point. Press firmly into the forearms and the outer edge of the hands. If you would like more, start to walk the feet in towards the wall.
Pause when you get to the outer edge of your shoulders still being over your elbows. If you would like more, continue to walk. Now here, my head is getting closer to the ground. My shoulders are going past my elbows. I'm going to come very, very lightly onto the crown of my head, letting my head nestle into this little pocket of my hands, continuing to press firmly into the forearms and the outer edge of the pinkies. Stay here. If you'd like more, you can try lifting one leg, lifting the other leg. All together, you'll stay here maybe a minute or two, not as long as the other poses. And then when you're ready to come out, just walk back a little bit. Exhale. And we'll come into a child's pose to rest. Breathe. And when you're ready to come out, place the hands under the shoulders, gently press up to come all the way to sitting. Bring the knees together.
The fifth asana is Dvipada Viparita Dandasana. So Dvipada is 2 feet. Viparita Dandasana is extended staff pose. And what's recommended is a very supported version of that pose. And so what I have behind me here is a very sort of special setup that if you have all of this, all of these props, it's great. I'm going to demonstrate this at the very, very end of the video, but most people don't have all of these things. And so instead what we're going to do is we're going to go downstairs to the living room, and I will show you how you can just use your coffee table and whatever throws and pillows you happen to have around, and we'll do a very lovely Dvipada Viparita Dandasana downstairs. Welcome to our living room. I'll show you how to use this furniture and these props for Dvipada Viparita Dandasana. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put a mat on top of the coffee table so that our blanket will not slip. And then we'll just take one of the throws. This is just an inexpensive throw from, I think, Kohl's a couple of years ago. Again, something dense, tight weave, nice and soft, provide some cush for your back. And then I'm just going to grab all these throw pillows and create a bolster for my head. So this will be support for the back of my head. And here we go. So sit on your coffee table, and with the knees bent, come down and slowly, slowly, slowly scooch yourself over the edge until you get just to the bottom tip of the shoulder blades. And then you can just keep the shirt and everything there, and then just press a little bit, and you'll help to roll the flesh just down. And now the edge of the table is right below the shoulder blades. And then from here, notice I'm not turning my head left or right. Straighten one leg, straighten the other. The legs are very, very active, as in Dandasana, as in stick and staff pose. You can inhale the arms up overhead to give yourself a nice long stretch before going down. This is Supta, right, reclining, Tadasana with Urdhva Hasta, upward arms. All right, then let the neck go, let the head go. Let the arms lengthen overhead. The body is very, very active. The head and the neck are very, very relaxed, very, very supported. Depending on the angle of your head, will open the front of the throat even more. You can also bend at the elbows and take opposite elbow in hand. Continue to press into the soles of the feet. Lengthen through the whole body, head and neck. Very, very nice and relaxed. If you take opposite elbow in hand, then be sure to do the other side as well. I'm going through this very quickly for demonstration purposes, but when you do it at home, then of course you want to stay 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes. When you're ready to come out, bend at the elbows and you're going to press very strongly into the back of the upper arm, keeping the head and the neck very relaxed. Inhale, coming up, sitting very straight in Dandasana. Inhale the arms up overhead and then twist. So first twisting the spine on an exhale, inhale, and then continue to twist the head. And then when you're done, inhaling, coming back to center. Inhale the arms up overhead, exhale, twist first in the spine. The head just goes along for the ride, and then continue to turn in the neck. The head twists even more. Continue to press strongly in both legs. Inhale, coming back. Enjoy. The sixth asana in the series is Salamba Savrangasana, which is shoulder stand. The variation that I'm going to demonstrate today, that's part of my home practice, is a very supported version using a chair and some textiles. Check it out, because when you're going into it, of course, you don't want to be turning your head to the left or to the right. So maybe watch first if you're not so familiar, and then do and just listen. If you have a regular shoulder stand practice, of course, that's a wonderful option. And I know a lot of our Refresh on the Mountain friends sometimes like going into Setu Bandha, into bridge pose, and then placing a block or a book underneath their hips and letting the legs go up. And that's a different variation that might work well for you as well. So in this version, we have a sturdy chair, it could be wooden, metal, a mat on top of the seat, which helps you have some stability and so you don't slide, and then a textile on top of the mat to provide some support and cushion. Down below we have some textiles that are folded here. It's about 4 or 5 inches. This is the right height for my neck and my body, so of course adjust accordingly for your own. So to get into this particular version, you sit on the chair backwards and you swing your legs over and your knees are bent over the back of the chair, and this is your anchor, so that when you release the torso down, you can do it in a very, very controlled way. So starting here, I am not going to look to the left or to the right, and slowly release myself all the way down. Now this chair does not have any front crossbar, which is great because then I can just reach right through and grab the back crossbar. Another option is to grab the outer edge of the back legs. So from here, I'm just going to let my body go and let my shoulders alight on top of the textiles. Now I still have my legs hooked over, so if I need to adjust, I just want to have just the tops of my shoulders on the blankets, but I want my neck and my head to be free and on the floor so that they can slide and adjust and make adjustments. So now I'm strongly coming onto the tops of my shoulders. I'm externally rotating the upper arm, and then I'm going to adjust the angle of my head and neck so that my head and neck feel very free and relaxed. You can hear it in my voice. And then I'm lifting my chest to in the direction of my chin. So from here, now I'm going to start to have active legs and straighten out my legs here. And then I'm going to start to experiment. What does it feel like to lift one leg? Let that one go back down, and then to lift the other. And then when you feel comfortable, bringing both legs up. So just like in full shoulder stand, the legs are very active. The thighs are internally rotating and lengthening up through the heel and the ball of the foot.
I'm pressing particularly strongly into the big toe mound so that I can lengthen the inner leg, because that tends to shorten and the outer leg tends to be longer, and I want to even out the length of the inner leg to meet the outer leg. So once you are in your full expression of the pose, try to stay for at least 3 minutes. 5 is even better if possible, but if not, no worries. For demonstration purposes, I'm going to come out now, but of course you want to stay. And I'll show 2 more variations as you're coming out. Maybe you want to bend your knees and bring the soles of the feet together on the back of the chair and let the knees come open. And here you are in Baddha Konasana, into bound angle pose with the legs. And then another version is the same pose as was at the very beginning, which is to have the legs extended. Legs are very active and extended over the back of the chair. Alright, so to come fully out, you bring your feet onto the seat of the chair. Release the back bar and release the shoulders. And then slowly, in a very controlled way, hold on to the front legs. Slide off of the chair. Let the hips land on the blankets or the textiles. Let the calves be fully supported by the seat of the chair. Adjust the head and the neck and the shoulders, and let the arms come out. Stay here for a good 3 breaths, and then before coming fully out, exhale, letting the head turn to one side. Empty out the neck, as Helen Francis would say. And bring the head back up to center. Take a breath, and then exhale. Release the head to the other side, and then come up. Now, to fully come out of the pose, just press into the calves just enough to lift the hips and move the textile away and bring the hips fully onto the ground. Lengthen one arm out long, bend the legs, push the chair out of the way, and roll over onto one side. Stay there for a breath or 2, and then when you're ready, press into the hand under the shoulder to come up.
The 7th asana is halasana, plow pose. Today I'm going to demonstrate a supported version using a chair. If you're more comfortable bringing your feet all the way down to the ground or onto a set of blocks, by all means, please do that. We'll have a stack of blankets that are about this size. The finished edge, the curved round edge that I want up against my shoulder, is going to be facing the chair. The chair can have a little bit of cushion on it if you like. So we'll start here. And so I'm going to adjust it so that my head is freely on the floor, my neck is free. I can measure with my thumb to the top of my shoulder and in the corner of my thumb, the rounded edge of the blanket. That's a really good way to measure. I'm going to start with the chair about arm's length away, and then later I'll be pulling it forward. Remembering the instruction for Setu Bandha, pressing the feet firmly into the floor, I'm going to inhale and lift the hips, adjust my head. I'll adjust the shoulders as well. And then coming up and over. So this is one version of plow. It's a very active version, but I want to go into a supported version. So I'm going to start to slide my chair in, and then I can grab it and bring it all the way in. And I'm going to bring it all the way in to the crease of the hip. Now my legs are completely supported. My arms, instead of having to support and lift up my back, can just
come up as cactus arms. Again, I'm going to adjust my head and neck. I do not want to have any kind of congestion in my throat or my neck. And then you can just relax. This is very supported. Should be able to stay here for a good 5 minutes. Of course, come out earlier. Don't hold it as long if you're not comfortable. But if you are comfortable, then give yourself the time. I'll be shortening this considerably just for demonstration purposes. So to come out, we'll walk the legs out of the chair. And then come out just as you would for a regular plow. Slowly, slowly, slowly. I'm keeping the angle of my head and my chest the same. I'm just going to slide the blankets forward, bring the hips up, go right back down. I haven't changed my neck and my head and my chest relationship until I land on the floor, and then lengthen out the arms. And now from here, exhale, and you can turn your head to one side, empty out the neck, and then inhale, coming back to center, and then exhale to the other side. And after a few breaths, coming back up. When you're ready to come out, one arm goes long, bend up the knees, and then roll over to that side to come up.
The 8th asana is Viparita Karani, legs up at the wall. Everyone is pretty familiar with this. I'll do a very quick demonstration. If you're able to somersault into it, that's fantastic, but otherwise I'll show you an easier way. So I'm using a bolster. You can also use a stack of blankets or firm textiles. You could put a couple of blocks together and then put some textiles over it. You have a lot of options to get just the right height and width for your body. Whatever you do, you're not going to put it right up against the wall. You're going to put your support, give yourself, as you can see here, I've got about that much space between the wall and the bolster for my body. You may need to have a little bit more. So an easy way to get in is to sit on the very edge with one hip and then bend up and around, and that way you end up in the middle of your support. And you can sort of scooch yourself in so that your hips are up against the wall to the degree that it is comfortable for you. So the support is here just above the hips. The heels are on the wall. The feet are active. You can lower down. Just the tops of my shoulders are on the ground. The arms are out. Now you can just relax here. My legs are not doing much of anything. You can also have active legs. So here my legs are active. I'm pressing up through the heel, pressing up through the whole sole of the foot, through the ball of the foot, and particularly through the big toe mound of the foot, because we tend, the inner leg tends to collapse. And so we want the inner leg to be lengthening as much as the outer leg is. And so here again, notice I'm not turning my head to the left or to the right while I'm up in this pose. And you can stay here and be happy just with the legs up at the wall. You can do any variations that you like. Baddha Konasana, you can do wide angle, you can do half lotus. So a lot of different options while you're here. You should be able to stay here for at least 5 minutes. And just, yes, variations are good, but again, remembering the purpose of this practice. So being calm, being quiet. If you are doing variations, being very deliberate and methodical and incremental. All right, so for demonstration purposes, I'm coming out. So to come out, you bend your knees, press your feet into the wall, lift the hips just enough to slide your support out of the way, and then roll all the way back down. And now the hips are completely on the floor.
and the legs are up at the wall. Now here, with my hips on the ground, I can turn my head to one side to empty out my neck, and come back, inhale. And then exhale over to the other side, a few breaths here, and then inhale, coming up. And to get completely out of the pose, you can let one arm go long, bend the knees, roll over, move your support out of the way. Lie for a moment for a few breaths here on your side, and then when you feel ready, press into the palm to come up.
The ninth and final pose in this sequence is Shavasana. It's corpse pose. Most of you already know about that one for sure. And I thought I would just show you one variation of how I like to get into corpse pose. And then if you're interested in the headstand variations and the Viparita Dandasana variation, then that will be after this final pose. All right.
So lie down with your knees bent. And then we'll come first into a Supta Baddha Konasana, so a reclining bound angle pose. And let your arms come up wide in a V, adjust the head and the neck. And then on an inhale, bring one knee over to meet the other knee, lengthen through the side, waist, body. And then when you're done on that side, inhale, bring the knee up, adjust the hips as needed, take a breath, and then bring the other knee over and lengthen through the other side, waist, body, lengthen through that hand, open up the armpit, chest area. And then when you're ready, come back to center. And then from here, lengthening out through the arms, bring the knees up and let the heels slide out. Lengthen through the feet for a moment and then let the legs go. And then release the arms and bring the hands onto the belly. One last little fidget asana to get the head and the neck and the shoulders just right. And then let the arms come out wide. Please stay here for at least 5 minutes. And I'll come out right away for demonstration purposes. So to come out, lengthen up one arm, bend up one knee to the other, and roll over onto that side. And take a few breaths here as if you were going to take a nap. Be very, very comfortable. And then when you're ready to come fully out, press into the hand that's under the shoulder. Bring the other hand under the shoulder and come up.
Hi again. Thank you for letting me continue to share my home practice with you. I would like to demonstrate for you 2 variations of Shirsasana, headstand. I do these 2 variations because I have arthritis and compressed discs in my neck. And what this does is instead of putting the full body weight on the crown of the head as you would in full Shirsasana, it puts the weight of the body somewhere else and the head and the neck are very free. In the 2-chair setup, you're balancing on the tops of your shoulders. In the yoga sling setup, you're balancing the weight of your body on your hips and the tops of your thighs. So if you have a regular Shirsasana practice, or if you've come up and down, or even if you've done these, this is great. If you do not have a regular Shirsasana practice, then please exercise caution if you try this. Again, I recommend trying something, any of these kinds of inversions for the first time in the presence of a seasoned yoga teacher who can watch you and give you feedback in real time. All right, so for this 2-chair setup, we have a mat, first and foremost, very important so that the chairs don't slip apart from each other. 2 equal chairs. These are 2 matching chairs. This just has the back cut out, but that is doesn't matter for our purposes. There's a sturdy textile on top of each to provide some cushion for the tops of your shoulders. And you're going to have them pretty close together. This is just about this far apart. It just needs to be wide enough for my neck. And then my head will hang down. And so this provides a lot of relief for arthritis and for compressed discs, because it's just, this inversion just provides natural traction for your neck. You have the weight of your head, 8 to 10 pounds, like a bowling ball, that is just gently, the force of gravity, of course, is just gently pulling it down, and it's providing spaciousness for the neck. All right, to get into this, you're going to face your props and bend down and just bring one chair up and then back down, and you can bring it closer together just to make sure that your shoulders are fully supported and it's snugged right up against the sides of your neck. Now I've pushed some of the textile back so I can firmly grip the seat of the chair. Another option is to hold onto the legs, but for these legs are curved, so I prefer to have this here. All right, so you're going to step back, prepare yourself for coming up just like you would for a regular headstand, and then up you go. Everything else is the same. The legs are working the same. There's an inward rotation of the upper thigh. You're pressing firmly into the soles of the feet, pressing through the heel, and then press up through the ball of the foot, particularly into the big toe mound to lengthen through the inner leg. The head and the neck, the jaw, the eyes, everything is very, very free. With this supported pose, you might even find that you can stay up longer. Continue to lengthen all the way up through the legs. The heels are moving back towards the wall behind you. The hips are moving forward. The wall is there, in case you feel like you're losing your balance. You can always go back to the wall. But it's pretty easy to balance here. And then when you're ready to come out, of course I'm coming out very quickly for demonstration purposes. You leave one leg up, let the other leg come down long. You're coming down in a very controlled way. The toes touch down. You release the head and neck. You immediately come down into child's pose. Especially have nice support for the forehead. Take several breaths here. And then when you're ready, hands under the shoulders and gently press up. So to use the yoga sling, I'm going to show you two different ways of how to use this. One is bending forward over the sling, and the other one is going back over the sling. All right, so I'll first demonstrate this way. So here I have, the sling is just above the crease of my hip. And so I'm going to stand up a little on my tippy toes and lean over, and then voila, here I go. So now I'm at a right angle. So I'm balancing here on the tops of my thighs, and your cats will love you because they think you're a toy. This is normally his toy, but now there's a human toy lying here. All right, okay. So you can, so the legs are straight, they're active, they're all the same instruction as when you were up in Dandasana, in Shirsasana or shoulder stand, it's the same. So the legs are very, very active. And then what I love to do is to clasp my hands like this, and then place it just at the base of the skull, and then you can even add an extra little tension here. So if you've ever actually had traction, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. It's that strap that they put around the base of your skull and your chin, and it just sort of gently tugs. You can do that manually here. All right, and then I'll demonstrate it just from the other side so you can get a sense of what it looks like. The other side as well. Lifting up, coming back, legs go around, catch yourself to keep yourself from swinging, and then voila, feels great.
can be part of bat school. And then again to come up, grab hold of the straps, and then swing yourself around.
For those of you who are interested in this setup, here we go. You've got two folding chairs. Now, this folding chair has the back of it cut out so that my body can slide through it. The back folding chair has just a blanket on it. I'm not worried about sliding too much on that, and it's up against a wall. The front folding chair has a folded mat on it to keep you from sliding so you can move in a very controlled way, and then it has a blanket or some sort of firm textile on top of that. Behind it, I've put my bolster and then a couple of blankets. Now this is a setup for me. You may need more height or less. Probably I need a lot of height because I'm short, but you may need this much height or not. If you don't have a bolster, no worries. You know, you can build your base with sturdy blocks or books. You can do a whole big stack of sturdy textiles, whatever makes sense for you. All right, to get into it, we're gonna sit into the front seat and extend out the legs, and I'm putting my feet all the way up against the wall. Now my knees are still kind of bent, which is good because eventually I'm going to be pushing myself back. So I'm actually going to scoot my hips all the way forward so they're just barely on the back edge of this chair, and then I'm going to start to lower myself down. So I'm wanting the front edge of this chair to hit me right at the shoulder blades, just a little bit below the shoulder blades, right there. And so now my knees are bent, and so now I'm not going to turn my head anymore to look at you. I'm pressing my feet firmly into the wall so that my legs are straight. Remember, this is inverted Dandasana, inverted staff pose. I'm holding on to the back of the chair for support, and then I'm releasing my head, my neck, my chest. So from here, just like the seated shoulder stand, I can grab the bottom bar, and again there's a strong outward rotation of the upper arms, and it's very, very beautiful. It feels really, really great. Depending on the angle of your head will determine the level of extension of the front of the throat. Other options here, I'm going quickly for demonstration purposes. Other options are to raise the arms all the way up overhead. Feels great. Keep pressing your feet into the wall. Another option is to grab opposite elbows. And so all of this is opening the armpit chest area, broadening shoulders, keeping the throat very open, relaxing the tongue, the eyes. Everything feels very supported because we've got this nice head support here. After a while, you may feel like, oh, I can go down a little bit lower. And so then you can just start to unfold your top blankets and continue to work in this way. To come out of it, bend the elbows, grab the back of the chair, and now I'm going to get my feet out and bring my feet to the floor. May have to push a little bit further. There we go. Now I'm going to press strongly into my forearms. I'm pressing strongly into my feet to support myself to come up. So on an inhale, lifting from the sternum, coming up, and then scooting my hips back. My head is still looking forward. Now I'm going to do a full twist. I'm going to inhale and grab the side and the back, bottom of the chair. Exhale. Now I'm turning not only my head, but my whole torso. And inhale, coming back to center. I'm going to go to the other side. Inhale, exhale, turning and twisting. And then exhale, coming back
center. And then to come out, you can either just step right up, or some people like to step up, tilt the chair, and then step out of the back of the chair that way. Voila. Of course, please remember as you start to go down, don't turn your head, and watch the demonstration a couple of times so you have it visually in your head, so that then when you're going down you can just listen to the voice and not look at the video.